welcome to the 145 Rural Podcast, where we are here to strengthen music careers and communities one song at a time. And now, here's your host, Jacob Wing. Yay!
Hey, everybody, and welcome to today's episode. Today, we are going to talk about how to clean up your audio and get that professional sound. Make sure that it's sounding the best it can. We're just going to get right into it. So, the real thing you need to take away from this, first and foremost, is that there is an accumulation of sound over the number of tracks when you're making a song that can really make everything sound just horrible and just terrible and really unprofessional. And especially in the beginnings of songs and in the songs when it's like the very beginning buildup, there's one instrument or two instruments or just a vocal part, and that ending when it's either a fade out or you have one instrument, like one guitar just hitting one big chord and letting it ring out. Those are those moments that you don't want anything in the background that's going to pull you out of that moment and take away from all that work you've done and the emotions that you're trying to convey. So, today we're going to talk about some plugins that are available to help you do that, to make sure that you're getting the best and the only sounds you really want before you start doing all the compression, the EQing, or anything like that. And also how this step and what we're doing today can help you save so much money with not paying for any of that acoustic treatment or any of those other gadgets or stupid things that people keep trying to sell to you when you don't need that kind of stuff. So let's just start with what's available to you. I mean, the plugins out there for doing these kind of noise reductions are innumerable. There's so many, and there's great ones. They're on every different kind of price point. Just off the top of my head, there's Waves X, there's Waves Clarity. Both of those do great noise reduction. Antares, who does auto-tune, they have Sound Soap, and that scrubs up your audio pretty good. Steinberg has something called, I wrote it down just in case, Spectra Layers. I've never personally used it, but I've heard some great things about it. There's a free one out there right now in a beta version called Goyo, Goyo. And that's, I think, free through October 31st if you're watching this as it airs right now, October 31st, 2023. Anytime after that, I believe there's going to be a payment for that, as there usually is. But there's so many great options out there that you can research and find one that works for you. Today, we're specifically talking about Izotope, which is a company that I absolutely love. But the big thing about this one and why I'm going to recommend it on top of an additional recommendation on it is that it does everything top notch and quickly and effectively, and whatever AI they're using to make this thing pick out the background noise is working fantastically. The other thing that I said I was going to add on top of that is, of course, I almost never recommend a subscription just because I feel like it pulls away from the income and the money you have to put towards putting your music out there, advertising your music, getting new equipment to make better music. I always kind of feel like subscriptions just really drain your money really fast without you knowing where all your money went. But this one, I guarantee, is worth it. And here's why. One, we get the noise reduction that we're talking about, and they have included with their subscription, you get the guitar one that focuses on any kind of guitar noise, like squeaks or, that when you're scraping across the strings, it'll take that out of there. And the picking sound, if it's too aggressive, it can pick that out and double pick. It can take that noise, pull it out, or at least pull it down so it's not so bad. And there's ones that are aimed at your voice, either, doing dialogue such as this that I'm doing right now, or doing vocal singing. It's directed right at that until it goes right for the voice, pulls out anything in the background that you just don't need. And there's so many more. You can DS. It can also clicks. It's got a thing just for clicks. And you wouldn't think that that's such a big deal, but when you do your own dialogue editing, as I've had to do many times, you start to notice the kind of noises that pick up, and you got to learn more about yourself than you really wanted to. But those noises can take away from people focusing on the message that you're trying to get across. So that's just the cleanup that you get with your subscription. I believe it's $20 or I believe it is $20 a month but don't go check for yourself. But that's just the RX. It also includes other great ozone. If you're doing any kind of mastering of your own work, it is fantastic. And again, another thing that's got AI built into it, it'll just listen to your music and give you a great recommendation, a great starting place for you to master your own music. I mean, you can't beat that. I know it's got a sculptor on it. It's a tool I use, especially when it comes to vocals, and it's just not sitting right in the mix. You can just sit there and move a slider up and down and get that. If it's too nasally, pull it back. If it needs a little more presence, add a little more presence, and it sits right on top of that mix, right where that vocal needs to be, right in front of everybody. There's so many more tools I just don't want to get into right now because we're focusing on one, but as a recommendation, I would say please go out there. If you're going to pay a subscription, that's what you should pay for. So we've talked about Izotope and the RX and the noise reduction we're going to use, but now let's move on to some examples so you can actually hear what it does, and then I'll show you how to use it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little field trip out to the highway right outside our studio so you can get a good example of what that sounds like and what we're dealing with, and before we even just attempt to touch any audio. And I did run this through my caption reader so that I use for all my social media. So if you want to go see our Instagram, and we always put tips and stuff on there, go ahead and take a look at that. But it's got the captions on there so you can hear what I'm saying, but you'll get a good idea of what's going on and what we're facing with this noise that we have to deal with on a daily basis here. Right after we do that, we'll come back into the studio and we will talk about what we're going to do. We're going to record some open mic guitar, just acoustic guitar, real simple, and you'll get to hear unprocessed before we do any of the noise reduction on that. And then we'll do a processed version so you can hear that. And then, of course, it'll walk you through the steps on how to get a sound sample of your room so you can get the right kind of background recording so it knows what to focus on, what to pull out of your audio. That's going to be on there. And after we do that, I'm going to walk you through exactly on the computer, take you into the DAW, show you how we just step by step, real quickly, pull that audio up, focus on what we need, get the sample, and then clean up the audio. And then it'll show you exactly how to use it step by step right there. After that, we will come back here and we'll just do a little talking more about what we've done and what we can learn from that. And I'll give you a little audio dialogue version so you can hear that too. So you're going to get two versions of examples here so you can really hear how much of this stuff makes a difference. So let's walk outside, take that field trip, and we'll get going. Hey everyone, just dealing with this highway here is what we're talking about today. All this noise, all this extra sound. You're probably having a hard time understanding what I'm saying even. And it really makes a big difference as to what your final product comes out, to how it sounds. And if this background noise is starting to bleed into your microphones and add up, it really, really hurts you. So here's a good sample of what that sounds like so that we can have kind of a baseline of where we're starting at. So let's go take a listen to that. All right, so we are here right now, and we're going to go through the very first step to using a noise reduction plugin or anything that cleans up your audio, and that is to get a sample of the room that you're working with. In this case, like I showed you before with that video, we have the highway, which for the first time and only time, I am pointing the condenser of the microphone at the problem, which is never what you want to do. Like we stated before, and I'll link another episode up here about what you should do with your microphone and how to weaponize that. Point it away from the problem so it helps reduce that noise. But today we're just, for example, worst case scenario, what that's going to sound like. So we're going to stand here for about 10 to 20 seconds, make sure that we get some of that passing traffic noise so that it has a sample to work with, as well as the studio lights make a little bit of buzzing for the camera work here. I want to make sure it picks up that so we can pull that noise out of there and get a nice clean sound. So let's do that right now. Go. Perfect. So right there we got some great just ambient room noise that we can use, and that's the first step. The very next step is to wait for the traffic to start picking up just a bit so we can hear a little bit of that, and we'll catch that. Perfect. Got a little bit car, a little bit truck, a little everything. So now that I know I've got great audio samples to work with, we've got a bass to work with, we have a way to set the baseline of what we need to pull out of the audio. So,
hi there, and welcome to the ad break. We're just going to take a moment to let everybody know about our community of growing members, and if you'd like to be a part of that, just look at the info below and there will be a click there for an email sign-up to join in and get your voice heard. As well as if you're enjoying this content, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/145rural. There you can join any of our groups, and you can add to the discussion of what topics we will choose that will help you and hopefully future members of our groups, as well as join monthly Q&As and other such benefits. Again, that's patreon.com/145rural, and we look forward to seeing you there. Now, back to that regularly scheduled episode, and enjoy that content. Thanks again.
So, now let's make some audio. How about that? We're just going to do a simple, real simple chord progression with an open mic facing right at the guitar here. And then we're going to take that and we'll clean that up afterwards. So let's just go. All right, now I'm just going to walk through how we did this, do a little voiceover on how to functionally do this in your DAW to clean up the sound. So from the very beginning here, we're just talking about identifying where the sound is and what the problem areas are going to be. So using the spectral denoise from Izotope, I am kind of sectioning it here, and I've located a spot on the waveform where I can tell we've got some good background noise from the room itself, and I could tell that by that little bump in the waveform, that's where we were going to have the cars. So right now I'm just letting the plugin learn from the sample that we gathered, and it's got a good little understanding of where it's at. I'm moving it over so it knows what artifacts to go for to pull out of the sound, and then I'm just moving it around to where I can tell it's encapsulating all of that background noise but still keeping the sounds coming through that I want, the vocal speaking, and then of course the guitar later. At this point, I'm showing you one of the best functions. What is it? It plays just what is being filtered. So you can hit that output noise only, and that thing is amazing. It just plays exactly what's being pulled out of the sound, so you can hear. If you're hearing your voice dip into that, that means you've gone too far. And that's clearly what I did here, so it was time to go back, focus on my voice, and refunction it back into there, pull that voice back down under, and then shape it again to where it's still pulling the noise out, but letting all my voice come through and making sure that I am filtering out only what I don't want, keeping what I do want. And this is just that little touch and go, and the thing that you learn a little bit over time. It just takes trial and error and learning it. But once you kind of go through all these steps and you do it enough times, it takes about, I'd say, a minute, 2 minutes, and then you're set. Especially if you're doing multiple recordings, it's fantastic. It just does such a great job of filtering out everything. If you used it for vocals, guitar, whatever, you already have that noise set ready to go. You can just apply it to all of them and go from there. Let's go back and talk a little more. All right, we're back now, and you've now got a walkthrough. You've heard a great example with the guitars. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to give you that vocal one I was talking about. You're going to hear a great example of that. So right now, I'm going to snap my fingers, and you're going to hear just how it sounds when I don't do any of the editing with the noise removal and any of that kind of stuff. So there you go. Plain audio, just the microphone and me, nothing else. Everything in the background you're going to be able to hear. There's some buzzing from our studio lights. There's just the room itself. Any passing cars, you're going to hear those for sure. And those kind of things just really can take somebody out of the moment. I'm trying to help you with something and teach something, but it's really hard to focus when you can hear noises that are pulling you out of that. It sounds unprofessional. You're like, I can't trust this person. It just sounds like crap. They don't know what they're talking about. So let's get back into, there we go. There's some great audio to listen to. All right. Okay, no more sexy voice. I'm sorry. I just thought that'd be a good little trick. But we're back to our clean audio and sounding a lot better, a lot cleaner. And I can really get the message across without having to distract you with what's in the background, what's all that crappy noise. So there's some great examples that you have of what noise reduction can do for you and why it's so important, and why I would recommend, if you're going to do a subscription with any service, Izotope's a great one to do. From there, that really should be all you need to know. If you have any questions, please put them down below. That's really all we have. So from there, if this has helped you at all, please just give us a subscribe, watch any of the other videos. I mean, you guys have really been hitting that subscribe button lately, so it's really been helpful. Thank you so much. Really makes a big difference. Give us a like if you like the video. Share it with anybody you know that might get any use out of this, because that's all we're trying to do. So until the next one, thank you guys so much. Bye.